everybody, this is Oksana Rudko and my brand of knitted bags La Accessory. In this video lesson, I'm going to show you how to make such a trendy bag. It's going to be a crossbody with a short handle and also a long shoulder strap. I will attach it a little bit later. Crossbody has such a flap with a magnetic button. It has the shape that repeats the shape of the bag. It's made of metallic yarn, or you can also use leather look, and I will also give you some alternative options. 5mm polyester cord, which you can also use for this bag. I'll tell you why I'll give you this alternative and the peculiarities of work with metallic yarn, because it's not a simple one in work. So let's have a look at the size of this bag. Its width is 26.5 centimeters. Its height together with the handle is 27 centimeters without the handle, but together with the flap it is 18 centimeters. Together with this part where the handle starts, 22 centimeters. The narrowest part is here, 15 centimeters. The width is 12 centimeters. So this bag exactly I made with macaroni metallic yarn. This has, as you see, 60 to 65 meters. And you see that here it is 6 or 7 hook, but I was using number 5. I'll explain why. Here the color is not stated, but as you see it is such burgundy red with metallic shine. These dark colors, when we will start with bright pink, we'll see. So I wanted to say that it may leave some on your hands. So when you have already made the bag is shiny, and when you work, sometimes you can have some color on your fingers as you wear it. So also pay attention that it might give its color a little bit to the clothes that you're wearing. Yeah, it's a peculiarity of this yarn, so just pay attention. This bag is a constructor bag, so it is consisting of the parts that are sewn together. We're going to make them all separate, front and the back parts, then bottom, then 2 sides and the handle, and then we'll sew it all together and also add a flap. Let's have a look at the materials that you will need for this bag. Here I have used 3 skeins of macaroni metallic yarn, which has 60 to 65 meters in a skein. Also pay attention that they have 50 meters. Then you will have to take 4 skeins. I recommend you, if you know your gauge, know that you, for example, have loose gauge and you use more yarn that is stated in the description, then I recommend you to take a little bit more. So pay attention to this. These are the leftovers I had from 3 skeins for this, used for this bag. Then we will need some metal bag that has screws here. I decided to use this one so that I can adjust the width of the flap. I like these ones. I do not insist that you have to use these. You can use any different bag locks, for example, I just decided that this one will be a good option. Then we will need such half rings and half rings like this. You can use smaller ones. Here I have bigger ones, but here it's up to you, 1.5 centimeter maximum. And also you will need some chain on the lobster clasps so that you can attach it to the bag. I will also tell you about the color, this spring pink color. I'll see whether this color will leave some pigment on my hands as well. So I think that it is the peculiarity of metallic yarn, so it is like it is. Just make sure that visually your bag will look okay. Just while you are working, your hands might get a little bit dirty, and so may your clothes when you wear it often. So I also recommend you to use polyester cord if you are afraid of color leakage. Then you can use polyester cord, it's slightly stretchy. Here I have a sample made of this cord in such a neutral color. So why do I suggest you this cord? Because metallic yarn is difficult. It's difficult to work with it. And you need a lot of patience, and especially where we'll be making the ends, narrower parts, joining parts together, it might be a little bit difficult. So it would be much easier and much more comfortable to work with a polyester cord. So for this metallic yarn, I think you should have some experience, at least. So for the newbies, it might be difficult to work with metallic yarn. But I do not insist, you can of course try it out and see for yourself, because the bags look just amazing. As we will be making the pink one, I will also make a green one. I'll show you the result, how it looks in the cord. I'm not going to insert the liner into the metal thread because it is very difficult to sew it into the metallic yarn. I do not think it looks nice. Secondly, it's very difficult to sew it into the metallic, to pierce the metallic yarn, to sew the lining into. So perhaps I'll show you the lining made on this polyester cord bag. So I'll just show you how it looks together with this shoulder strap and show how it looks inside. As you see here, it doesn't have the lining, and I don't think it needs one. So there, where the bag lock is inserted, I'll think what we can do to hide it completely. The bag is really roomy, so you can place a lot of things there. Here, just pay attention that you don't have to make the narrow entrance to the bag. Now, the tools that we will need are the following. Of course, crocheting hooks. I used 5mm crocheting hook, but you might have a different gauge, so maybe it will be comfy for you to work with 5.5 or 6, so pay attention, adjust it as you work for your gauge. Smaller crocheting hooks such as 4, 4.5 to hide free ends. Also for the free ends we'll need some thread and sewing needle, thread and matching color, of course. As you see, it slightly differs in color, but it will be okay to sew the free ends. So it is quite difficult to sew the free ends, that's why sometimes I'll show you how we can hide them without sewing them in. Then we need scissors, and maybe we will need knitting markers. It will be easier to work with them. And then of course darning needles for sewing together the pieces. Here I want to pay your attention that this plastic darning needle will be difficult to work with, so you better take the metal one. And the most unusual tool here is going to be such an oil for cuticle. Yes, it's for your nails. And I add it to the hook like this. Yeah, it might look a little bit strange, but believe me, it will make your work easier. Or you can add it to the cotton sponge, and then you will just dip your crochet hook. It can be oil, like sunflower oil, because it will not leave any traces on the bag. This bag was made with sunflower oil and you cannot see it on the bag. It leaves absolutely no traces. Or you can use any plant oil that is transparent and that will not leave the traces. If you're going to use polyester cord, you do not use, no, this is only for the metal yarn. Then you will also need measuring tape and some tools such as a screwdriver, pliers, and maybe several screwdrivers, small or bigger one. So let's get started. So I have some leftovers. It's oil for hair, yeah, which I bought myself a new, more high quality for my hair, but now I think I can use it for this. It will not be absorbed into the sponge. You just need to use it just a little bit to make the crocheting hook go into the stitch easier. So we will start working from the front and back sides of the bag. Front and back are absolutely the same, so we'll start with this. Let's find the free end, like this. Here it is, one. You see it sticks a little bit, so you have to rip it off sometimes. It's okay. And so I'll show you in every detail, and this masterclass is suitable for the newbies, for those who had never crocheted in their life, so it will be possible even for them to work. We need to cast on even number of stitches. I'm going to cast on 32 chains plus one chain for the lifting chain. I'll explain now. So cast on the stitches together with me, and I will tell you how much you need, what's going to be the width if you do not like it. If, for example, you have wider or narrower, you will then adjust this number of stitches that you cast on. You can undo it and then cast on, for example, bigger or smaller number. But the number should be an even number, so it can be dividable by 2. So put the short end like this on the long one, insert the hook into this loop, hold it with my fingers, middle finger and thumb, oil slightly the hook, insert the hook, pull this loop and pull it through. This is a 0 loop, so we do not count it as the first. It is just the 0 stitch. So now cast on 32 chains plus one lifting chain. Insert the hook like this, make a yarn over, pull it through the loop. Pay attention that when I pull it, I turn the hook so that this little hook on the end is down. For me, it is easier to make a stitch like this. Insert the hook, make a yarn over and pull it through the loop on the hook. I will count later. Insert yarn over, pull it through the loop. I do not tighten these stitches, so do not tighten it neither on the hook nor when I make a yarn over. work rather loose here. Don't want to make it tight, because if you make it tight, it will be even more difficult to work with this yarn. If you are working with metallic yarn, you need to work loose, or you need to take a bigger crocheting hook. Insert the hook and through the loop. And so as soon as you see it is difficult to work, dip it into oil and it will be easy again. And so like this, we cast on 32 plus 1, 33 stitches. Now, how to count your chains? This knot we do not count. We start counting the stitches here, where we see this braid, like the V shapes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This one on the hook we do not count either till we've made it a stitch. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, I will oil it, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Now let's count the stitches again. Remember, do not count the first, it's just a knot, we don't count it as a stitch. Start counting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. The one on the hook we do not count. So here are our 32 plus 1, 33 stitches. Now we need to start our pattern. The pattern here is not difficult, but it demands attention, so be attentive. Insert the hook. You see here such loops. You have a loop on the hook, it comes from this one. So we skip it and insert the hook in the next one. Insert it under the upper half loop. Pull the working thread. Pay attention that I recommend you to put it with the right side, because here you can see the wrong side, this one where you see it's twisted, and here it's the right side. So put it the right side facing you on the hook and make a stitch through this one. Now you have 2 loops on the hook. Do not tighten it, make it slightly longer. Now make a yarn over like this. Make sure it is facing you with its right side and the twisted is inside, and work 2 loops together. That is a single crochet, just an ordinary single crochet. I just showed it so detailed so that everybody can do it. Then we make a joining slip stitch, so we're going to alternate single crochets and joining slip stitch. Again, single crochet and a joining slip stitch. At the beginning of the row we also have a single crochet, and at the end we always have a joining slip stitch. Just several exceptions will be, we will have decreases. I'll tell you when we come to such one. So the second stitch here, insert the hook under the upper half loop again, And now, without the yarn over, at once pull it through the loop. That is a slip stitch. So then we again insert the hook into the next stitch under the upper half loop, pull working thread, and now we make a yarn over. Do not twist the yarn, yeah, like this. Also, yeah, here you see it keeps on twisting, so make sure the right side is on the hook and make a single crochet. Then a slip stitch. Don't forget to alternate. Then again a single crochet. Like this. Make 2 together. That is a single crochet. Then again a slip stitch. And a joining slip stitch. Oh, that is single crochet. Yeah, we're alternating single crochet, then a slip stitch. Have a look here. In the first row, it's really difficult to see where it is a single crochet, where it is a slip stitch. So here, be very attentive and do not change this alternation, because if you make a mistake, you will not get the pattern. So as you go, then I'll show you how to distinguish the single crochet from a slip stitch, so that you can just look at it and see what stitch you had there, so that it will be much easier for you to follow, yeah, and you will not be making mistakes. So now I have made a single crochet, so next is a slip stitch, and I do not tighten the stitches, that is important. Then again a single crochet, and then again a slip stitch. Each next braid here you make a stitch, insert the hook, make a yarn over, pull it through, and 2 together. That is a single crochet. So like this, go on working till the end of this row. Here at the end I'll show you how we finish it. Go on working, alternating single crochet and slip stitches. So now I have almost made the first row, and we have to make 2 stitches more. Here you see 1, 2, and here you should have a single crochet and a slip stitch, so you will have to finish with a slip stitch, otherwise you have made a mistake. Last stitch is a slip stitch, so I make the last single crochet here, and the last is a slip stitch. So how you can check? You have to make 32 stitches, so count on top braids 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, 31, 32, and the one on the hook we do not count. Always when you start in new row, we make a lifting chain, just a yarn over and through the loop on the hook. Turn your work, and again we start working with a single crochet. Always start with a single crochet and finish a row with a slip stitch. So, and likewise we're going to alternate. We will make single crochets under both half loops, just like all the other rows. We'll be working in both half loops. Have a look. we insert the hook here, not this one where the loop is, no, this one we skip, and insert the hook in the next one, here under both half loops. Pull the working thread, and sometimes you'll have to untwist the yarn and work two together. So the next, a slip stitch, again under both half loops, insert the hook and make a stitch. Again under both half loops, make a single crochet. Then insert, make a slip stitch. Now, how you can tell where you have made a single crochet and where a slip stitch? The single crochet we make here in front of such vertical half loop. You see these two. So insert the hook and make a single crochet. The slip stitch is made after this vertical. You see here, you can see clearly a vertical half loop, after this vertical half loop, before such a tight stitch. You will get used to it. Again, you see vertical, so we make a single crochet before it and a slip stitch after it. You can see this protruding vertical half loop, and after it make a slip stitch. I think it's much easier to see like this and not to lose your concentration and to see where you have to make which stitch. If you do not see it, just count it. Yeah, better count it so that you do not make any mistakes. Now you can not see the pattern yet because we've made just the second row, and then you will be able to see it better. So we go on moving, alternating single crochets and slip stitches. And then again a single crochet, and so go on alternating single crochets and slip stitches. At the end of the row I'll show you how we go to the next. Now I want to show you how I untwist. You see it starts twisting around like this, so you have to untwist it. To make it quicker, do not take off the hook, leave the hook here in the loop, just hold it like this in the air so that your work together with the hook will untwist the yarn. It's difficult to show it on the camera, I don't have enough space, but you understand that you just hold it, hang it like this, and it will untwist the yarn on its own. Do not work with twisted one because it will look much better if you untwist it from time to time. Now I have to make several more stitches of the second row. So here we have 4 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet, slip stitch, single crochet and slip stitch, 2 pairs. If you do not finish your row with a slip stitch, then you've made a mistake. You have to finish it with a slip stitch. And then a slip stitch. You see, I use the oil, but you cannot see it on the yarn, so don't worry about it. Last 2 stitches will always be a single crochet and a slip stitch. Just like this. 2 rows ready. It's difficult to count now. I'll show you a little bit later how to count the rows that you have made. easily. Make a lifting chain, don't forget about it, at the beginning of each new row. And then again we start with a single crochet. Here you see a single crochet. So we will work here and it will be exactly in front of such protruding vertical line. And the next one is like deeper. It will be a smaller one, a slip stitch. And so like this, you can see how where you make the single crochet, where you make a slip stitch. It helps you to see where you are and what stitch you make. So don't make a stitch here where the loop on the hook comes. Insert it into the next under both half loops. Then next slip stitch. Then again a single crochet. You see, I do not tighten the stitches. And then again a joining slip stitch. And again a single crochet and a joining slip stitch. So this is already the third row. The rows here will look the following way: 1, 2, 3. On this side, one row is here, second, third. When you have more rows, it will be easier to count them because you'll be able to see them. Now the width of the side will make several more rows. I think then we will measure the width, if the width is okay for our bag. Nevertheless, there I had 27, here let's have a look, 26 and a half. Yeah, actually it is the same. So I just go on working. 26 and a half, 27 is okay. If you have a much bigger or smaller number, then you have to cast on 2 or 4 stitches more or less, so you have to adjust it for your gauge. Just remember about the even number of stitches that you cast on. So let's work a third row together, and then I will show you how we finish, and then you will have to work it just likewise, which you can work on your own, because we'll be working according to the same pattern. Everything will be just the same. Then will be decreases, which I'll tell you step by step. The third row is almost ready. Have to make only one single crochet and then a joining slip stitch. Don't forget about lifting chain at the beginning. So like this, go on working 14 rows. So 3 rows are ready. If we look at them from this side, it's difficult to see the first row because it is there. Yeah, you see, there it is. Just remember that the first row here you cannot see fully, then the second here, the third is here. On this side it is 1 is protruding, 2 is deeper there, 3rd is again protruding. Go on working like this 14 rows according to the same scheme. Start with a single crochet, finish with joining slip stitch. In each row you have to make the same number of stitches, number you cast on, not counting the lifting chain. I have 32. So we'll meet when we have made 14 rows. I have almost made it till the end. I just want to measure the height that we get. I'll get approximately 11.5 centimeters. And then here I have, let me see, yeah, actually 27.5, so it will be half centimeter wider than the previous one, but it is okay. So like this we finish the 14th row. Starting from 15th, we'll start making decreases. And decreases we are going to do the following way. We will always make a decrease at the beginning and at the end of the row. So all the rows are going to be symmetrical till the point where we will start making the handles. So how do we make decreases? Here we will skip first stitch, this one, where we would make a first, but we skip it, and we insert the hook at once into the next one. So insert the hook into the second stitch, make a slip stitch. We kind of have skipped the single crochet and we make a slip stitch at once without a single crochet. So the first decrease is made. Then just go on making single crochet, a slip stitch, single crochet, slip stitch, and so on. And joining slip stitch. And again a single crochet and a slip stitch, and so like this go on moving till the end of the row. Just stop 3 stitches before the end. I will show you how we make a decrease at the end of the row. So here we have 3 stitches left and we need to make a slip stitch. Then we skip 1 stitch, we skip a single crochet and again make a slip stitch. In the last, here, in the last stitch of the row. So we've made 2 decreases, so now we have 30 single crochets. So let's count. Without this one is on the hook, we don't count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Yeah, that's right, 30 stitches. If you made not 32 at the beginning, that you will not have 30, you will have your own number. Turn your work, and now we start the 16th row. At the beginning of 16th row, we will also make a decrease. Here we have to make a decrease the following way. We will insert the hook under the upper half loop here. Do not finish the stitch, we insert the hook in the next and make a yarn over, so that now we have 3 loops on the hook, and we kind of make one top for 2 stitches. That's how we make decreases for single crochets, not like in the previous row. And then here would be a single crochet in front of this long protruding one, and then we make a joining slip stitch. So we have saved the pattern, yeah, although we've made it decreased, we haven't broken the pattern. And so go on working single crochet, slip stitch. Again, stop 3 stitches before the end. I'll show you how we'll make a decrease and then we'll continue. By the way, I wanted to say that as you see while I was working, the pink color doesn't leave color on my hands. as it was with the dark red color. Now make a decrease into the last 3 stitches. So here we make, in front of this one, we make a single crochet. So we skip 1 and into the last one we make a joining slip stitch. Make a lifting chain. In the next row we will have 2 stitches left. In my case that will be 28. Count your amount. 2 stitches less than in the previous row. In the 18th row we go on working without decreases. We start here with a single crochet, then make a slip stitch, a single crochet, and so on, alternated till the end of the row. At the end I'll again show you how we finish the row, and we'll make 2 more rows with decreases. So wanted to show you the end of 17th row, that is the 17th row, yeah. Here I can see that we go on working single crochet, then a joining slip stitch. Turn your work, and then in the 18th and 19th row we'll make decreases like we did in 15-16. So we will make a decrease at the beginning like in 15th, and in the 19th we'll make it like in 16th, but I'll repeat it for you step by step. So at the beginning of the 18th row we skip the first single crochet and make a joining slip stitch, so that will be our decrease. We make a joining slip stitch here in the second stitch, then everything according to the chart, 1 single crochet, then 1 joining slip stitch, and so on. And so on. Go on working till the end of the row. At the end I'll show you how we make decrease. At the end of 18th row we make a single crochet, joining slip stitch, a single crochet, and a joining slip stitch, but we will make a joining slip stitch, then we skip 1, we skip a single crochet and make a joining slip stitch again. A lifting chain, turn your work, and then here likewise in 19th row, first 2 we make together. We start the single crochet as we usually start, but do not finish this stitch. Start the second and work 3 together. That is a decrease. Then we make joining slip stitch and then alternate single crochets and joining slip stitches in turn. So like this we go until the end of the row. At the end of the row we will also make 1 decrease here. When you have 3 stitches left, make a decrease. We have 3 stitches, so we'll make a single crochet, then skip, and then make a joining slip stitch like we did in 16th row, and the last is joining slip stitch. Don't forget about lifting chain. Here we will make 24 stitches. Let's count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's right. Now I'll make a lifting chain and start the next row. In the next row, we will start making these two narrow pieces for the handles. 19 rows are ready, and before we start making these narrow pieces on the side for the handles separately, let's count the rows to make sure that you have the right number of rows. We have finished on this side. Now I'll show you how to count it on this side and on the other side as well. The first row here, it's hidden, you see? It is hidden behind this line, so just don't forget to count it as well. The second one is protruding, the third is less protruding. 4 protruding, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, the last row that we have made. On this side, you can count them by pairs. So, for example, you have protruding one, then you have the one that's inside. And so like this, you can count 2 by 2. I'll show you a close-up. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and this one is the 19th. So now we start making the left piece for the handle and then the right piece. The left side will be here on the left side, and the right will be here on the right for me as I look at it now. And so let's go on. Turn our work and make 8 pieces of the pattern. That's 8 repeats of single crochet and adjoining slip stitch. 8 times. 1 and adjoining slip stitch. A single crochet and adjoining slip stitch. And so we alternate single crochet and slip stitch till we have 7 and 8. The last is adjoining slip stitch. We started with a single crochet and we finish now with adjoining slip stitch. So we make a lifting chain, turn our work again. So this is the 20th row. I recommend you to put a marker in here so that you remember where you have started making this piece. So you know that here you have the 20th row. Row 21 going to be with a decrease at the beginning, so we skip the first stitch and into the second make the first one would be a single crochet, but we skip it, so in the second we make joining slip stitch and then go on working according to the pattern, 1 single crochet, 1 joining slip stitch, and so on. A single crochet and a joining slip stitch. A single crochet and a joining slip stitch. So these are 20th and 21st row. Start the 22nd row. Here we make a decrease at the beginning of the row, skip the first stitch, like we did it previously. and into the second one we make a slip stitch, then a single crochet, and then according to the pattern, a slip stitch, down single crochet, and so on. So single crochet is always in front of this big protruding stitch, and the slip stitch is after it. This pattern will be kept most cases in this bag. Here at the end we make a single crochet, because pay attention, now it is turn of a single crochet, a lifting chain, and turn your work. So we have made 22 rows, 20, let me see, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, now we'll be making 23rd row. I'll show you a close-up. In the 23rd row we are going to make a decrease at the beginning of the row, skip the first stitch, and under the second one we make a single crochet as if we were starting with the single crochet. Then we have a joining slip stitch, then a single crochet, then a joining slip stitch, and here again a single crochet. So in total here we have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lifting chain, turn your work. 24th row here we'll make a decrease at the beginning, likewise like we just did. So we'll just skip the first and make a single crochet in the next. Here you see in front of this big protruding one, then a joining slip stitch, then again a single crochet, and finish with a joining slip stitch. Here we have already 4 stitches only. A lifting chain, turn your work. 25th row we work without decreases, just make a single crochet into the first, then a joining slip stitch, then a single crochet and a joining slip stitch. That is the 25th row. Make lifting chain, turn your work, and start the 26th row. 26th row we'll skip the first, make a decrease, and make into the second a joining slip stitch. Here you see we make a joining slip stitch, then we make a single crochet, and a joining slip stitch. Just to check whether you've made it right. For example, if you do not see which row it is, I remember that 20th was here, so 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. In the 27th row, we go working without decreases, so we will make just 3 stitches. Start with a single crochet, then joining slip stitch, and then a single crochet again, lifting chain. So we have the last row here where we need to make such a little sharp point. So we will skip the first and the second and into the third. Make this loop a little longer so you can reach to the third one. Insert the hook into the third, skip 2, insert into the third. Here make a single crochet. This will allow us to make such a sharper point. Then you can pull it and cut a little bit. So for now, we will leave this free end. We'll hide it a little bit later. So that's one piece for the handle. We need to make a second likewise. This can be front or back side of the bag, doesn't matter, they're the same. Now we'll make the next one. We turn the work like this. So now we will start working here from the right to left. So we need to count the stitches. 8 stitches. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put a marker there that you will have the first stitch here. Then I'll show you a close up again. Insert the hook, not under this one, but the next one. So we need to pull the working thread here, like this. I'll show you then how to hide this free end. So make a stitch like a chain. Then let's take away this marker. And then we start under the first loop here, a single crochet. Then, according to the pattern, a joining slip stitch. Again, a single crochet and a joining slip stitch. If you changed the number of stitches, then you can leave this pattern, then you will just have a wider or a narrower pieces for the handle, so that you do not have to make your own calculations. You can just continue working with me, no matter what size of a bag you're making. Then again, a single crochet and a joining slip stitch. A single crochet and joining slip stitch. Lifting chain, turn the work. Here you can mark the 20th row so that you remember. Like this. That this is the 20th row. And you can count with this marker. Then turn your work. Make a decrease at the beginning of the row. Skip 1. In the next, make a joining slip stitch. Then again, according to the pattern, single crochet and a joining slip stitch. A single crochet and a joining slip stitch. single crochet, and a joining slip stitch. Lifting chain, turn your work. So we have 20-20 first ready. Skip first stitch, make a decrease, and into the second stitch we start making joining slip stitch. Then, according to the pattern, a single crochet and a joining slip stitch, a single crochet and a joining slip stitch, and finish with a single crochet. Lifting chain, turn your work. 22 rows are ready. We start the 23rd row. Again, we need to make a decrease, so we skip the first and make a single crochet in the second stitch. A single crochet because here we see that we make it before this protruding stitch. Before protruding stitch we make a single crochet, so you can check yourself. Then joining slip stitch, and a single crochet, a joining slip stitch, and a single crochet. Lifting chain, turn your work. 23 rows are ready. We start the 24th. So you can count, if you're not sure, you can count from the marker. Yeah, so here we make a decrease at the beginning, skip one. In the second, make a single crochet, then joining slip stitch, then a single crochet and a joining slip stitch. In the 25th row, we work without decreases. We make 4 single crochet, joining slip stitch, single crochet, and a joining slip stitch. 4 stitches in total. Joining slip stitch, single crochet, and a joining slip stitch. Lifting chain, turn your work. 26th row. Here we will make a decrease at the beginning. Here we make a single crochet, joining slip stitch, and a decrease at the end of the row. Yeah, we'll make a decrease. Here we make a single crochet, one, like this. We start making the stitch but don't finish it, then we start making a second one and then close them together, so that out of 2 stitches we've made 1. In the 27th row, we work without a stitch here, so we skip 1, make a single crochet, and a joining slip stitch here. That's all. And a lifting chain, 28th row. In the 28th row, likewise, we skip the first, as we have only 2 left. skip one, and the last make a single crochet. This is the last stitch. I do not cut it for the time being. So now let's have a look. We have 2 pieces for the handles. I can cut it now, leave some free, and we'll hide it later. So the right side is going to be this one. Here where you can see the braid facing you. Although you can take the other one, it doesn't matter actually which one you like better. So, what else I wanted to say? Now we need to make exactly the same, the second piece, one more like this. We have 2 front and back. They are absolutely the same, so just make one more piece like this, according to the same pattern, and then we'll start making the sides and the bottom. When you have made the base, 2 pieces, we need to make 2 sides. They also will be the same. So we start with the 0 loop as always. So short end goes on top of the longer end from the skein, cross them, insert the hook like this. Hold this loop. For the side we need to cast 1, 12 plus 1 lifting chain. Again, remember that here we have an even number of chains. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So likewise, now as we were working at the beginning of the base of the bag, under 1 half loop here, pay attention that we have skipped one where the loop on the hook comes from. We do not work that stitch, we skip it and we start with the next one here and make 2 stitches. Now we make in the next a joining slip stitch, so we repeat our pattern, a single crochet and a joining slip stitch, and then a single crochet, a joining slip stitch, and a single crochet. Again a joining slip stitch, and a single crochet. Joining slip stitch. Use the oil if it is difficult to work, it will be much easier, you see. A single crochet, joining slip stitch, single crochet, and as always finish with, here pay attention that we have a knot which we do not work, so last stitch is here where we have a braid, a joining slip stitch. And we make a chain, turn our work, and likewise as we did when we were making the base, now we make into the first stitch here where we see in front of protruding stitch, we make a single crochet. So we always start where we do not make neither increases nor decreases, we always start with a single crochet. then a joining slip stitch, then again a single crochet, and then again a joining slip stitch. Then a joining slip stitch. And a single crochet. Joining slip stitch. A single crochet. And a joining slip stitch. A single crochet. And a joining slip stitch. And the last two is a single crochet and a joining slip stitch after it. Now we have made 2 rows, and we make a lifting chain and start a new row. Turn our work, and so like this we need to make 14 rows. 2 ready, start the 3rd one, and now you can go on working on your own till the 14th row. So we start with a single crochet, and we always finish with a joining slip stitch, and we alternate a single crochet and a joining slip stitch and make a lifting chain at the end of each row. Like this we make 14 rows in total. Then we'll start making decreases, and then I'll show you step by step how we go on working next. So I have made 14 rows, made a lifting chain, and turned my work for the next row. In the 15th row we'll make 2 decreases at the beginning and at the end of the row. So we skip the first stitch and make a single crochet, that is a joining slip stitch, in the second, as we did the decreases on the base. Then we again make single crochet and a joining slip stitch, and so alternate. A single crochet and a joining slip stitch, and so on till the end. And a joining slip stitch and a single crochet, and we have 3 stitches left, so we need to make a decrease. For this we start making a joining slip stitch, then we skip 1 and make a joining slip stitch in the last one, and then a lifting chain. In the 16th row we will make 2 decreases. First we will, you see these 2 where we made a joining slip stitch, we will make a single crochet, then we do not finish it, but we start making the second one, and you see now we have 3, we work them all together, so we've made 2 stitches into 1. And then go on working without decreases till the end. Here a joining slip stitch, and then a joining slip stitch and a single crochet, a joining slip stitch, and then a single crochet, so the same alternation. A joining slip stitch and a single crochet. Skip 1 and make a joining slip stitch into the next one. So like this, we have made 2 decreases in 2 rows. In this row we made 10, in this row we made already 8 stitches. So let's check this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The one on the hook we do not guide, make a lifting chain, turn our work. 17, 18 and 19 we go on working without any decreases, starting with a single crochet, joining slip stitch, and remember that each row finishes with a joining slip stitch and starts with a single crochet as always. Go on working 3 rows and then we'll meet when we start making the 20th row. So 19 rows are ready. Make a lifting chain, turn your work. In the 20th row, we also need to make 2 decreases. So we skip 1, insert the hook in the next one. Then go on working according to the chart. Don't pay attention that we skip this one and make a joining slip stitch into the last. And make a lifting chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we have 6 stitches. Turn your work. 21st row, we make a decrease at the beginning. We make 1 stitch, 1 single crochet, pull the working thread, and now 3 together. So out of 2 stitches we have made 1, that is a decrease. Then we go on working till the end according to the pattern. A joining slip stitch comes next, then a single crochet, then joining slip stitch and a single crochet. Make a lifting chain. 21st row is ready, and we start making the 22nd row. We make a decrease here only at the beginning. So in the previous row we also made it only at the beginning. To make it the same, now we need to make a decrease here on this side. So we skip the first, under the second one we make a single crochet, then according to the chart without decreases. Alternating single crochets and joining slip stitches. So that now we have 4 stitches. So here we have 22 rows ready, and we have, starting from the 23rd to 28th, we will be working without any decreases, just 4 stitches. Following the pattern, we make a single crochet, joining slip stitch, a single crochet, and joining slip stitch, and so go on working. Don't forget that we make a lifting chain at the beginning of each new row, turn our work, and again single crochet, joining slip stitch, single crochet, and a joining slip stitch. Then lifting chain, and so go on working till the 28th, so 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 6 rows of these 4 stitches. And then we'll meet when you have made 28 rows. So I have already started 28th, let's work it together. Single crochet, then joining slip stitch, and single crochet, and a joining slip stitch. And then we can make a slightly longer free end and cut the thread. So like this, we need to make 2 pieces according to the same pattern. Make the second piece. When you have made 2 side pieces, they are absolutely the same, 2 sides, leave these free ends, we will hide them later. And then I will show you how to adjust these free ends, how to hide them, and so on. So now we will be starting making the bottom, and the bottom here is going to be the same width as the number of stitches we cast on for the beginning, for the base of the bag. So, and here it's going to be 12 rows in width, which will be the same as we cast on 12 stitches for the sides of the bag. Yeah, so that here everything matches. So let's start. I'm going to show you it absolutely detailed. We'll just start together and then you'll understand how we go on working. It's nothing difficult in that. So likewise, we cast on the 0 loop, we do not count it. Then we need to cast on 32 stitches plus 1 lifting chain. If you had a different number when you cast on the base, then you cast on the same number you did. I'm going to cast on 32, 5, 6. So I cast on 33 chains. Now into the upper half loop of each stitch I insert the hook. Remember that I skip one where the hook comes, loop on the hook comes from, insert it into the next one. Grab the working thread and make the first single crochet, then a joining slip stitch, and so I alternate the single crochet and a joining slip stitch till the end. Then again joining slip stitch. At the end you will have the joining slip stitch. If not, check, maybe you've made a mistake. Yeah, we always start with a single crochet and finish with a joining slip stitch. So the first row for the bottom is ready. I have 32 stitches and 1 lifting chain. Turn my work and start the next one. In the second row also we start with a single crochet likewise. Then joining slip stitch, and starting from the second row we start working under both half loops. Yeah, then again a single crochet and a joining slip stitch. So we go on working like we did previously, and the first 14 stitches for the base. So here we are working just likewise, but we make 12 rows of the bottom, just go on working without any decreases or increases, 12 rows for the bottom. So go on working back and forth, and then we'll meet and I'll show you how we finish this piece and start sewing pieces together already. And we finished making the bottom. So let's finish together. And the last joining slip stitch, as always, the last stitch. Cut this thread. Like this. So we have made 12 rows and we cast on the same amount as we did for the base. 12 rows, it's easy to count them like this, 2 by 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. On this side, we cannot count it by 2 because here we have the first one that doesn't have a pair. So we have 2 pieces for front and back, sides of the bag. I didn't take off the markers. I'm going to make this one as the right side here, where we can see a braid like right side, where we have this free end. We'll hide it, don't worry. And secondly, here we need this line, yeah? So there we need it so that we can sew in the bottom, and then it would look just the same as the red bag that I have shown you. So now I'll show you how to hide the free ends, and then we'll start sewing pieces together. I wanted to show you all the pieces. So let's have a look. Now I will show you an example. Here I'll show you how to hide the free ends and how to sew them in, and then some on the side. And so according to this principle, you will hide all the free ends that you have. So the free ends, it's better to hide them, at least hide them at once, because I recommend you to sew them in, of course, but to sew the leather yarn is difficult. And secondly, if you do not sew them in, just hide it and sew the piece together, then it will be absolutely impossible to sew it in because it will be difficult to get inside. But if you want, for example, to remake the bag, these places where you have sewn it, it will be difficult because they will be spoiled. You will not be able to undo this bag and make a new bag from this yarn. So bear this in mind. Let's have a look how we hide the free ends. So first I'll take the base part where I have this free end. So remember that right side is better to take this piece where you see this line in front, yeah, where you have not pairs, the side on which you cannot count it 2 by 2, where you have 1 row on the right side. So this will give you such nice effect when the bag will be ready. So we need to hide this free end. To hide this free end, it's really easy. Now I'll show you. We need to repeat the pattern. So for example, have a look how this yarn would go if it was a piece of a pattern, so that it resembles the pattern. Like this. Also turn the yarn so that it's facing you with the right side, not with the wrong side where you can see the inside fold of the yarn. So I'll try to turn it like this. So you see, we need to copy the pattern so that it looks as if it was a part of a pattern, like this. So it's not visible that there is something wrong there with this free end. So, okay, we can leave it here. On this side, we need to hide it behind several stitches. I recommend you to take a smaller crocheting hook because it's easier to do it this way. And then under some stitches we hide it. Have a look on the right side whether everything is okay, how it looks this way. Yeah, okay. So now we need to push it through the loops, and now you can just hide it without sewing it. Just in this case you need to hide it really well. It means that you have to hide it behind a lot of stitches if you are not going to sew the free end. For example, you can go this way and cut it. If you don't want to sew it, because it's really difficult to sew the leather yarn and you have a lot of free ends, so it's time consuming, and then you will not be able to undo this bag and make something new from this yarn, so bear this in mind as well. So you can just hide it and then cut it, and that's it. But if you want, you can sew it. So if you like, if you're a perfectionist, yeah, or you want to do this as well, it's possible. I'll show you how to do this. So here is the free end. So I need to first fix the thread somehow inside. Then here I do not have the color of the thread that is absolutely the same as the color of the yarn, but it is not a big deal. So we just make a tiny stitches. We need to sew this free end somehow inside the stitch, inside of the base, so that it will remain put inside of the stitch. You can even pierce it through. If you have a matching color of thread, you can pierce it through. It will be much easier like this. Here you make the tiniest stitch almost into the same place, insert the needle, but on the other side you make a slightly bigger distance. This way you will sew this free end, you will secure it in the base. Pay attention that I haven't cut the excess free end yet. So first I sew it in, and when I have already sewn it, then I will see how much I actually can cut. And like this. It's quite difficult to sew this yarn, this leather yarn. Look for some places where the yarn is thinner, where the stitch is thinner, I mean, where you can easily pierce it through. Because metallic yarn is really difficult to sew. Like this. So now I will cut this excess and then make one more stitch into the cut. So cut as close to the base as you can, like this, or even hide it inside. But I recommend to make one more stitch here exactly into the place where you have cut it, just to secure it better. You can use special tools. You see, I sometimes use my nails. You can use special tools that will help you to push the needle. And when you have sewn the free end, so when you have sewn this cut, and of course pay attention, we sew it all on the wrong side, yeah, of course. Well, everything on the wrong side. Now I show you one more example somewhere on the side, and these two examples will have all the cases covered, yeah, all the cases of the free ends. So here I try to just cut it here where I have hidden the free end. And now, without any knots or anything, just cut the thread. You see, it should be absolutely seamless. It might be just a little bit visible here where I have sewn it, but as it is the wrong side, it will be covered with a lining, or without a lining even, it is also okay. So then let's hide one of the free ends somewhere here on the side, yeah, not in the middle but on the side. How we do with this one? Here it's likewise. We hide it on the wrong side, so find where you have your right side, where you have your wrong side. And I recommend you to hide it along the edge, along the seam here, like this, in the middle of the side. But do not sew it exactly on the edge, because we will use this edge for sewing the pieces together. You don't want to make it thicker, yeah, so hide it a little bit here to the side from the very edge. I prefer to hide this free end into such horizontal loops that you can easily find here on the edge. Okay, let's try it one, then yeah, you see we have hidden it, kinda doesn't look as if it was hidden there. Then hide it behind some stitches along the edge, but skipping a little distance from the very edge. Like this. And then I'll sew it here, here, and then cut it so that it will not stand in the way of my sewing the pieces together. And so again, I take some sewing thread and I sew it, then cut the end. And then make one more stitch exactly into the cut. So like this, you can hide all the free ends now that you have. According to the same principle, either this one or that one, you sew all the free ends. So now I want to show you one more option that you can make this bag of polyester cord. I haven't finished this bag yet, and I want to show you how to sew in the lining. So if you are making a bag in metallic yarn, you can as well insert the lining if you like. I just think it will be easier to show you here with a polypropylene cord. Personally, I do not insert the lining into metallic yarn. I sew the lining into the polypropylene cord. So now I'll show you how I do this. First we need to cut it, sew it, and then sew it into the bag, but not completely sewn. Now I'll show you what I mean, because when it will be ready, it will be difficult to get into the bag. So in the next pieces, I will show you how to make the bag, how to sew the bag, and then I will come back to this polypropylene one and show you how to sew in the lining, so that you have one piece of the lining sewn and the other piece will be not finished, because here we'll need a little bit to finish before we have sewn in the lining at the level here where we're going to sew in the lining. So I will show you step by step. And at once I want to say that the free ends on the polyester cord, like here for example, you do not have to sew. You can just hide them and then hide them with the lining. If they will not be visible, just melt them with lighter, just a little bit, and press it to the base, and it will already remain put. You don't have to sew it additionally. I have already hidden almost all the free ends. It's easy to hide it on the darker yarns. On the lighter yarns it's not so easy to hide. You better sew it maybe. It's really easy to sew it as well, so it's not a problem at all. So now let's sew in the lining. So you sew in the lining when you already have the flap in the bag. Now I just cannot show you, so I just don't have time. I have to finish this bag really quickly because I need it for a photo shoot. So now I'll show you how to sew in the lining, and after I will show you already the finished bag. So this is just the additional information for you. So don't forget that you sew the lining only after you have already made the flap and the bag lock. I just cannot do it now. So now speaking about the lining, how it's going to look. The lining is going to be really simple. It will consist of two pieces like this. It will have such shape, yeah, approximately. That is the upper part. Then we need to measure this piece, which will be the same as the width of the bottom. Yeah, measuring this, we will know this one as well, because they are the same. And it's a place where we start decreases. Then we need to measure the height here and here. I'll show you everything step by step on the bag, how we take our measurements. So we take measuring tape, and the first measurement will be here, the width. The width of the upper edge of the bag, here from the corner at the level where you are going to sew in the lining. I'm going to sew it somewhere here, for example. So press it properly to the bag, like this, and measure it all along the bag here. Don't forget about the corners. You will have a lining in the corners as well, so press it into the corners, then go to the next side. Here, follow the same level where you are going to sew it, same distance from the upper edge. So like this, going in the round, I measure the lining. Like this, press it deeper into the corners, so I get 58 centimeters. Now, how we count? We take 58 centimeters divided by 2, so this will be 29 centimeters. But to the 29 centimeters we also have to add seam allowance, which will be for the seams on both sides, which we will fold and make a seam. I'll take 1.5 centimeter on both sides, so it makes plus 3 centimeter. So this upper edge will be 32 centimeters. You have two pieces like this. Now we'll measure this width. It's also the width, but which we measure here at the level of this corner. And likewise measure it all around. Here you don't have to be precise, but more or less it should be the right number. I think it will not be visible if we add a centimeter. Just 1 centimeter more can be, but not 5. Here, of course, not 5 centimeters more or less. If you have 1 or 2 centimeters plus minus, it's okay. I have 70 centimeters plus divided by 2, 35 centimeters plus seam allowance, 1.5 centimeter on each side, that is 38. This width and this is the same, it's 38 centimeters. So now we need this height till the corner, which will be the same as this distance. So pay attention that we add just 1 seam allowance, because here we're going to have a seam only on one side. And by the way, here we can measure it as well on the wrong side. It will be on the right side, I mean here, outside. It will be much easier. So I start measuring here, 4.5 centimeters. Yeah, 4.5, and I need to add 1 seam allowance plus 1.5, that is 6 centimeters. So this height is 6 centimeters. Now measure from the center till the bottom. Here, press it hard, and then go along the bottom, and then go along the other till the point where you are going to sew in the lining. I make 36 centimeters, and 36 centimeters we need to divide by 2, divide into 2 pieces, because we have 2 pieces of the lining, yeah, which we are going to sew together. That will be 18 centimeters plus seam allowances, 21 centimeter. So we need to cut a piece that has such measurements, 2 pieces, yeah, and your calculations might be slightly different because your size of the bag may be slightly different. You can either at once measure the width of depth, I mean, of the bag, and that's going to be for the bottom 9 centimeters. So that you know it, and so make the pieces, cut off the fabric iron them, and then I'll show you how to sew it and then how to sew it into the bag. So here are my pieces for the lining. Now, with the help of such needles, we will cut, or we will fold, the seam allowances, starting with the upper edge on both pieces, folded to the wrong side, of course. So I will fix it with sewing pins. For me it's easier to fix it first and then to sew it, because it will make it easier to work with. Like this. I have made the first seam. Insert the tag if you have a label or tag. Insert it now. I usually insert it somewhere in the middle of the back side. So make 2 seams on the sewing machine, and when you have made this upper seam here, now you need to place it like this, right side to the right side, and shape the seams. For the time being, I'll just pin it with pins, and then I will sew it on both sides. Here we'll make 2 side seams. One side and another. On this side as well. Like this. So make these 2 side seams, and then we will make the bottom seam. And then we'll be making the bottom. Make 1, 2, then you can make a seam here, or you can pin it first and then make a seam on the bottom. And then we'll meet when we have made all 3 seams here, and we'll be sewing a lining into the back. So I have already made the seams, 2 side seams and a bottom. So now we need to make the bottom on the lining. For this, as you remember, we measured the width of the bottom. So we now open the corner like this, make sure that it has the same sides like this. This corner should have the same distances on the right and left side, so that it is symmetrical, like this. And now you need to find a place where it is here, the same as your bottom, 9 centimeters, for example. Width of the bottom is 9, so I find this line where it is 9 centimeters. Mark it. So here we will make a seam that will allow us to make a rectangular bottom on the lining. On the other side as well, make a triangle that has same sides. Nine centimeters, like this, and also mark with a pin. So that's all. These are last two seams that you have to make, and then we will start sewing the lining into the bag. So now lining is complete and we can start sewing it into the bag. You see we have shaped the corners for the lining so that we get a rectangular bottom. And so we insert it into the bag. Find your back, front, which is going to be here if they are not the same, because I, for example, chose that this is going to be my front, and then the label will be here. I always start sewing from the middle, somewhere here from the label, so that I can center it, make it in the center. I take some needle with thread in matching color matching the yarn more or less, although this seam is going to be invisible, so it doesn't matter actually, but better take some color that is like your yarn. So first we need to fix the thread into some stitch on the knitted piece, like this. You can make a knot to hide it inside if you can. Or just a loop. And so like this, approximately from the middle of this. And I start sewing. Now I'll show you a close-up. So what you need to do is to pierce it here, right into the top of this fold of fabric, right into the very top of this fold, like this, and then you sew it by piercing through the bag. On this side you make the teeny tiny stitch, you insert it in the same almost opening, and on this side you make it a little bit into the diagonal, so you make a slightly bigger stitch along the same line. Follow the same line for sewing the lining. Now I'll show you a close up. You again pierce it here right into the top of the fold of the lining, into the fabric, right into the top, and then into the knitted base. And so like this you go on sewing in the round till you have sewn all the lining. So remember that you have to sew it after you have already made the flap and the bag lock. I just don't have it at the moment. I want to show you this, and then I will add the flap. So I just wanted to show you the principle how we sew the lining, and you can just go on working after you have made the flap. So on the right side you insert it into the same opening, and on the right side you make a stitch a little bit into the diagonal, and like this you move around and sew the lining completely into the bag. when you come here again, there you can make a knot, hide the thread inside and just cut it, or make several stitches back and forth and then cut it, and it will remain put. I'm not going to sew it because, yeah, as I already said, I need to buy a bag lock and insert it before I sew the lining. Like this, go on sewing. If you are going to sew the lining into your bag, and then already we can finish the bag completely. Sew all the pieces, handles, and so on. So that's it. Let's go to the next stage. I hope that everything is clear